There's another real biggie of a stage coming next video, so here's another side mission to give you time to rest up for it. I've already taken the time to redesign the cores for this stage. I get to bring 12 brigades to the fight, however, I get to choose all 12 of them right from the start, so partitioning the corps like this wasn't necessary. I just did it to make it easier to show. The lineup is as follows. The SCCWaSG return to the fray. There is one really good place to put a skirmish team this map, and their ultra-long-range scoped Whitworth rifles will allow them to get the maximum number of shots from it. 4 cannon batteries will be coming along, the 2 long rangers from the previous stage, and 2 batteries that I will be using in close support. These 2 are both 1-star units. I'm hoping to get them a bit more training before next round. And the 7 infantry. Each of them are 1700 or 1800 man squads, low training, low equipment, and led by the lowest ranking officers I have on hand. The majors got the 1700 man brigades, and the lieutenant colonels got the 1800 man ones. There are 2 main reasons for this. One is that this stage is, if all goes according to plan, going to see me engaging an enemy force in the open field towards the final minutes. As casualties in those types of fights can mount quickly, I don't want my experienced groups to take the hits. The other reason is that I'll be enlarging my army significantly for the next battle, which means a lot of new recruits. I already have a few highly trained teams ready to go, so let's give some of the other guys some live fire experience. And that's really all there is to say. Let's get to the stage. You've been ordered to seize Harper's Ferry and capture the valuable weapons factory located there. The guard of Harper's Ferry has left the town and holds the heights in front of us to halt our advance. Attack them, capture the heights, and clear the way to the town. You'll notice that for the first time in a while, I actually outnumber the enemy force, though they make up for it in cannons, though I have a plan for that. Also, this map is just a slight extension of the top left portion of Second Bull Run. Not that that really makes any difference to how it plays out, but I found it interesting at least. You've been ordered to advance, seize Harper's Ferry, and capture the Federal Weapons Factory. The guard of Harper's Ferry has left the town and captured those heights to halt our advance. Capture the heights and clear the way to Harper's Ferry. Once again, it's time to demonstrate the abilities of General the Mousemaster by abusing game physics in a way that no real-life person could. The opponents have set up in this area with a 10-pack of infantry and cannons, as well as having a couple cannons back here, a rather large cavalry squad over here, and a couple skirmishers hanging around. For some reason, they tend to leave the actual defensible woods almost unoccupied. A single cannon or infantry brigade might end up in them, but that's almost always just by coincidence rather than design. They have absolutely no units on this side of the river, however, and due to that thin yellow line that isolates this battlefield from the rest of the planet, they are going to get no help from the left to stop my maneuver. Also, the only river crossing in the entire map is down here, but we get to start on both sides of it, and the Union will never be able to get anywhere near it, so the right side of the map is just ours to play with. First up, the SCCWaSG and 2 long-range cannon teams will start here and head up to this area, bringing a supply wagon with them. Due to the hilly topography causing all kinds of spotting issues this map, placing the 2 cannons right at the edge of the trees here should keep them from being spotted at any point, while being nice and close to rain down much damage. As for the snipers, they will dance around the jut of land here, getting all the spotting they can, as well as taking shots at anything they can see, which will often be some kind of enemy cannon. Their good stealth should prevent them from being spotted 95% of the time. Just be careful if an infantry team gets all the way up to the river's edge, or if that northeast skirmish squad starts sliding down. The main force will be the other supply wagon, general, 2 short-range cannon batteries, and all 7 of the infantry brigades. They will all move to the map edge, skirting the forest's edge to this point, then turn north to about here before turning northeast to enter the forest and actually engage the Union. Due to, again, this stage's rolling hill terrain, there's a good chance no one will be spotted until they get to around this point, so casualties should be excessively minimal. Once your whole team is in the forest, split a couple skirmish groups off to cover the backside from any probing cavalry or skirmishers, pack the cannons, general, and wagon in the center of the woods, and then have 5 of the infantry teams set up in the wood's edge. Given your numerical advantage, and forest cover preventing a lot of incoming fire, you should have no issue pushing out any random Union force from the trees. The last 2 infantry will continue marching northeast to get right up in the northern cannon's business. They'll take some damage as they approach over open field, but hey, these are all new recruits. We got plenty more where that came from. The overall game plan is to wipe out the northern cannons, then pin the cavalry, and hopefully skirmishers, in the top left. While this is going on, your covered infantry and 4 cannons should be getting rather impressive trades off against the open field Union troops. The stage ends when the main clock reads 8:35, so somewhere no later than 8 o'clock you will want to press your advantage, having the infantry on the extreme edges surround the Union and go for the coup de grace. As I'm fast forwarding everyone into place, I just want to give a shout out to developer Alfred007, who's been like the only guy who's been fully keeping up with and commenting in this series. Also, I haven't gotten to use his icon in a video since the Warzone 2100 series ended, so here it is. How you liking the Sylvestrin battery there, Alfie? Despite what I draw during the strategy phase of these videos, you have to be flexible when the battlefield starts forming. Since the two anti-cannon northern infantry groups aren't done with their targets yet, I pull off the infantry at the north edge of the woods to go pin the cavalry and road skirmish teams in the interim. All that means for the overall strategy is that when I need to envelop the main Union force later, I'll have to slide one of the northern brigades in the top center instead. I ended up playing with the cavalry unit for far too long here. After I had dropped it to 400 men or so, I should have started pulling back one of the two infantry groups, and had the other team move to a 45-degree position to keep them locked down. And speaking of things I should have done, once it became apparent this skirmish team was going to lead me on a wild goose chase, I should have just sent the detachments after it and returned the infantry brigade to the main encirclement far earlier than I actually did. The extra bodies on the north edge would have proven useful. My northernmost brigade took a bit too much fire, and the general wasn't near enough to support his morale. As such, they started to panic, allowing the enemy supply wagon to sneak by on the right, followed by a chunk of the enemy army. This is what a 15-minute delay in moving a single infantry brigade can result in this game. And then to double down on the mistake, I try and split off a detachment to chase the supply wagon down, even though the panicking enemy infantry is there, and that other skirmish team I didn't manage to finish off earlier. That poor decision is almost going to cost me a shattered skirmish detachment. And what is going to cost me the skirmish detachment is that I actually had the chance to end the stage at 8:30, but I let it go to actually try to run down the supply wagon. This is a prime example of throwing good money after bad. I'll just blame it on them being untrained recruits that didn't receive my orders in time, due to the musket smoke on the battlefield. Yeah, let's go with that. Fallen detachment aside, the Union had 13,000-ish men, and I killed or captured about 7,500 of them, including the total wrecking of the 2,000 men worth of artillery regiments, at the total cost of less than 2,000 of my own. Only 2 enemy units even approached a reasonable kill-death ratio. And of those 7,500 enemy casualties I mentioned a second ago, well over 1,000 of them came at the hands of the Snipesomers, all without a single casualty. 4 of the Lobby officers got a new star to add to their uniforms, and the recovered loot includes 9 more of the mid-range specialist 10-pounders, as well as other decent cannons and some good mid-tier infantry weapons, which is good as I have a lot of guys to equip for next stage. The next battle is the Grand Battle at Antietam. My exploits in the last 2 stages have reduced the enemy army by about 15%, not including the per battle effects, but it's still huge, and I have to prep at least 3 corps worth of troops to engage in it, which is, of course, something for another time. For now, the Snipesomers are getting a vacation, and I'm going to go get a drink. I figure a nice 1862 vintage Mountain Dew is in order.